Hey, I'm Kalash and I make cool stuff. So today I'm making an Anubis sculpture. I will start as usual with a wire armature that I will wrap with foil to bulk it up and use less clay. For the sculpting, I'm using Polymer clay. I will bulk up the sculpture until I get something that looks a lot like a Doberman dog. I accidentally ended up making the sculpture about 2 times bigger than what I was intending to, and I burned through all of my clay. Usually for my projects, I spend about 1 package or even less on a project. For this one, I ended up using 3.5. It also doesn't help that I don't really have a nice workspace. I just work on my table with my monitors in the background, and it could barely fit into my oven. I have a smaller oven that I usually use for clay stuff, but it was too small, so I had to bake it in my big oven. And even then, it barely fit. 2 more centimeters on the ears and I wouldn't have been able to bake it. I made the eyeball too small, so I ended up replacing it with a bigger one. This is the same clay, only baked, so I don't ruin the nice round shape while working on other details. When I was happy with his face, I added his big ears. I don't believe in any gods or anything, but I have always found Egyptian mythology super interesting ever since I was a kid, so I've been wanting to make an Anubis sculpture for a while. I really love how it turned out, but I ended up spending so much on the materials that I think I'm gonna end up selling it. You don't notice because I've never told you before, but I actually have an Etsy shop. I mostly sell little sculptures and jewelry that I make off camera, but I do sell some of my sculptures there as well. And I will also be selling this Anubis one, so if you're interested or just want to check out anything else I make, I'll leave the link down below. So far, I've only been working on one part of the face because I actually wanted to spice things up a bit and make it more interesting, so I will be sculpting the other part of his face as a skull. I already knew this before, but I recently rewatched some of my older videos and I realized that the narration sounds like I'm being held at gunpoint and forced to do it. I think it's because English is not my first language and usually I script my videos so I know what to say. And it ends up being very monotone and boring. Today I'm trying something a bit different and going completely off script and just watching the video and rambling basically. I'm hoping this can help make it sound a bit more human and not like I hate everything I do. Because I really don't. I really enjoy making these videos. After I'm done with sculpting, I'm gonna go over everything with isopropyl alcohol to smooth out the surface. And I'll also add texture to the skull part to make it look more like bones. So far, he's still looking like a regular dog, so it's time to dress him up a bit. First, I'm gonna make the jewelry that he wears around his neck. First, I rolled out a piece of clay and added a bunch of details. I didn't go for anything too complicated, since it would take me another week just to make those. Just some simple details, and I think in the end result, everything together looks really nice. The sculpture has already been baked, so I'm gonna cover it with liquid Sculpey to help the clay stick. And then attach the neck piece. For the back, I rolled out 3 pieces like this, but in different sizes, so I can later stack them up on one another. And of course, I added details. Each piece has a bit of a different design, but they are all similar to one another. And I also made one different piece that is gonna go on the top of his head. And then I attached them to the already baked sculpture with liquid Sculpey. I forgot that I wanted to add some piercings while still working on the ears, so I added them now. The clay cracked in some places after baking, so I filled it with wall filler and then sanded it. I usually go for a more realistic paint job, but this time I wanted to make it look like a real sculpture. So I'm gonna be painting everything completely black and then going over the skull and other details with gold. Personally, I really hate gold, I prefer silver, but I gotta admit, black and gold look really great together. And of course it also really fits the whole royal god thing that he has going on. And that's it. Thank you to my loyal patrons for their support, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!